specifically. He is their goalie, but he's actually off role, but it doesn't matter because Magical has so many hours invested to this game. He was received coaching. He's a knowledge gap alumni. And I mean, these three players on TAMU White have just been playing together so long. So we'll have to see. This is going to be their biggest challenge yet. In the face of Torin and Dogitos and Keklord.
Yeah, I think we are restarting this lobby just because of a spectator bug, right? Which ends up making it, so can't really see anything. But yeah, I wanted to add on to that, right? Magical being a player who has so many hours on the game, it essentially makes it so that you can just knowledge check a lot of players, right? With the experience, knowing a lot of these interactions, just having so many hours, I think that'll probably go pretty far for TAMU White. And since both of these teams are sitting at 1-3, every win they can get matters.
Yeah, in fact, if they lose, I think they're just completely out of postseason play. So it's do or die here, and both these teams will need to give them their all. I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but we're heading into Taiko Tempo here. 1-2 Deadeye start makes me think that we're going to see a lot of bodies fly, Ether.
Yeah, I won't doubt it, especially when you have an Aimi Zentaro on one side, but then again, on the opposite side, there is that Atlas. That Atlas being able to protect against a lot of these kills pretty well. And combined with the Atlas, you have a pretty powerful core control duo in the Juno and the Rasmus. Now, just taking a look at the gear here really quick, we have Siphoning 1 on Will Baka, every other forward going Mag Souls, Strike Shot on both goalies, and Deadeye only picked up by the Army.
Yeah, Deadeye, a really good pick. On Tears here, both Will and Tears, they flex their positioning a lot. Will Baka is actually a Juno one-trick Zentaro secondary, and they just flip-flop between forward, midfield, just to suit the Awakenings and what characters they can play. So far, for TAMU White, they're on the bad end of an open barrier, but Tears quick to take one off. There's the soup and the sentry turret trying to get things started here, but a nice expand shutting everything down. It's Tears, the only one on the offense here. Will Baki's playing the brawler, but not able to push up in the slightest. Nice hooks here, trying to keep the possession here on the side of UTulsa. A little bit of lag and a nice strike warp from Zentaro. Will needs to step up here, Ether, if White wants to equalize here.
Yeah, it's looking very tough with three members on the defense. They're just not getting any chance to convert. But looking at conversions, we might see something from Keklord. A missed strike. It goes all the way around. A great expanse. And now Terra sitting in melee with the flip. Where does this go? A bounce into the corner. It's still staying. Flip answered by Torin. A great pass out to Keklord. And he finally closes it out. A great strike right past Magical.
Yeah, a nice combo from Keklord there with the core going red. First interrupted Magical with the pendulum swing and then got the strike off. Very well played off the chaos that is so easily generated on Taiko Temple.
Yeah, and one barrier already falling in favor of TAMU, and one more answered by Keklord. Looking for a second through pass by Dogitos. It's just staying funneled in this corner. It's not leaving, and that is the power of this Juno. The Juno is able to force these corners so well, and if you are not in those corners to answer, it makes it so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and nobody knows that better than Will, who is really mirroring this Juno. But TAMU White trying to get offense started here. The core is just dripping. They have flips to play with, but both flips soon to be up, but one expended for UTulsa. There's another one. Both expended, but they get the clear in the end. Now offense starting to rage. Soup committed, keeping it upfield. Glitch Pop goes wide, but unfortunately, the Taiko Temple jank comes back to bite UTulsa.
Yeah, very tough to deal with, and now Keklord sitting in the face of Magical with a flip. A great glitch pop to the bottom corner, barely doesn't go in. An awkward bounce to the top side, nearly finished off by the cyber swipe. Now Keklord waiting with the slip. Where does it go? It gets saved out by Magical. Now with the three-man defense for TAMU, they're keeping it held down. And this barrier, it needs to stay up if they want to have some sort of defense.
But you give Keklord way too many strike board chances. Tears, Oh my gosh, everything was a roller coaster for TAMU White, losing the barriers but getting the power play but it is Juno with 1-2 in an overtime situation. That is hotshot at home, and that is a very slow magical, not able to cover the top side.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate, is now you're down 0-2 in this first set. And with the Juno that already has 1-2 punch, the hotshot could really mean that things start to spiral out of control really fast. Because if you look at the EXP, Doggitos is sitting at number 1.
Yeah, and TAMU White needs to come with an answer now. Expands force. They're keeping it in the corner. There's a flip. Sentry turret. Not able to find a clear, and they lose it off of the momentum. Whiplash finding that second. It's incredible what UTulsa has done just off of one misdirection.
Yeah, and I mean, they lose one barrier, but it's not the end of the world, as they still have one more to work with, and with an Atlas, that's the position you want to be in. You can still hold that one barrier really well. Doggitos continues to keep the core forward. It goes right around the Tofu Fortress, and with Keklord positioning right in front of the net, he's ready to take these strike wars.
Yeah, but offense trying to get started here. A nice blink from Will. Not homeless off the Juno. There's a sentry turret. The passive is good as well. Charging it up with the Oni's blade. Beautiful coordination. TAMU White breathing signs of life.
Yeah, beautiful ult out there by Tears, making sure that the core just stays in, and this just gives Will way more opportunities to score, as now he doesn't have to worry about having to take a second strike war. Now the core does get cleared up, and Tears looking to win this interaction in the midfield. One barrier found for TAMU, but Keklord is on a breakaway.
Yeah, and quick to equalize off the momentum. There's Torin pushing up, keeping it in the corner. All three members of White playing some defense, and it pays off. Tofu Fortress trying to keep it forward, but a nice redirect. All the cooldowns being expended as all the bursts come online here. Sentry turret and a rare misstrike from Torin. Now these are all three flips. Make that 2 in the face of TAMU White. They need to convert this here, get it out of the corner, and that's what Tears will do with that flip.
Oh, well, the flip committed, but now Wilbaka is looking to use the flip of their own. The Oni's blade, a great dribble, a flip. Flipped out by Torrens, nothing to answer, and now Doggitos has a flip of their own. They're looking for this barrier. They find it. Keklord, a good whiplash, but now it's back to the side of UTulsa. Tears is keeping it forward. One pass to Wilbaka is all they need to tie it up, but a great pendulum swing out by Keklord takes the first set for UTulsa.
And it's not just that. It's a little bit worse. I think Tears, with the cyber swipe, pushed Keklord into position. It was with good intention to interfere, get some more stagger, but Ether, it's kind of doomed.
Hey, I might have prophesized it.
Oh, what have you done, Ether? I want TAMU White to win. I mean, no, I don't. I'm unbiased, but oh no!
Well, hotshot over to the Juno. The twin drive denied away from Atlas. Atlas still ends up picking the Catalyst in the end, looking for some sort of double deny, but the explosive entrance is still there for Zentara, so I don't think he's complaining too much. Big fish for Rasmus, but then the Monumentalist for Dubu. As someone who plays Dubu, thoughts on the Monumentalist?
On this map, it's not bad because with that strike shot, you're able to control a little bit more area with a little bit more ease, not having to push yourself up the whole way. But I mean, the size doesn't matter when the core is just moving like that. They do get Juno off the field. It's a power play for TAMU White. Expands committed, trying to find one barrier for their troubles. There's Doggitos back online, and they can't find anything off of that.
Yeah, really great dribbling, and then the clears out by Tor, and Keklord looking to get the core forward. Doggitos is just waiting behind for some sort of pass. Now, a good jump, but there's that firewall sentry. Doesn't really establish any presence. The flip burned out by Torin, but it's not even needed as a stray shot. Magical with an unfortunate miss on the strike.
Yeah, just not expecting that angle. The Taiko drums giveth, and the Taiko drums taketh away. And they took away that point opportunity for TAMU White. They need to bounce back here, and a quick cheeky barrier just like that will do. Shutting down the top side is Magical, pushing up with the projectiles. Can't get the offense fully started though, has to play defense. Nice roll and a better flip, and they almost find the clear, but Doggitos covering the out.
Yeah, I mean, at least for TAMU, it's only one barrier for their troubles, but it's looking to be a second as Keklord is waiting with this whiplash. Doesn't really get anything. So much damage on the Rasmus. Evades to grab the orb, but is staggered. And unfortunate disconnect out by Will Baca, but it looks like the teams opt to just play the sportsmanlike and just wait it out.
Yeah, this is actually not uncommon. Will has a lot of issues with the Wi-Fi, I would know, but back online he is, and there's 2 flips to work with here with TAMU White, and they really need to convert here. They wait out the expanse. They have 1 to work with, but the offense not able to get rolling. Tofu Fortress, though, keeping it upfield. Nice slice and dice sentry turret, but unfortunately the core is not there with them. There's that second flip to keep things upfield and almost gets it off a crazy bounce. But Torin, wise beyond his years, able to cover it, and a nice kill coming out, though. The offensive pressure continuing to mount for TAMU White. They send it bot side, but unfortunately no one's there to capitalize off of it. Still, holding the core here, glitch pop, strike wars, nothing's quite working as the flip is expended, and unfortunately the roll not able to cover it. So even though they were applying so much pressure, it's UTulsa able to capitalize off of Magical's misposition.
Yeah, and that was a pretty scary position for both teams as the core nearly hit the barrier for one side and the goal for the other. But now Tears and Will Baka looking to tear up the defense of UTulsa. Great dribbles out by Will Baka, the Oni's blade, actually sending it back to their own side. They get the kill on Dagitos, and maybe they can convert here.
Yeah, just have to get it past Keklord, who has been doing such a great job winning his ones against Magical. Not able to that time, but a lot of time has been wasted for Dagilos back online. A nice cyber swipe, though. Barriers are equalized, and that flip on Zentaro tried to read it, but Torin, very patient, very wise. Whiplash, not enough. Sentry turret committed, and there's a flip top side! That is an almost unfindable angle, a ghost move, really. But Torin finds the cracks in TAMU White's armors, and they go up 2-0.
Okay, speaking of ghost moves for a second, though, was it just me, or when Magical got that save against Keklord's Whiplash, did he not hit it, the Whiplash hit it, and then he strike shot the Whiplash, or was that just me?
I'm not quite sure. It was a little bit finicky, but that interaction ultimately paid out in favor of TAMU White in the end, and they really need it. They're down 1 barrier. It's almost to be 2 with the pressure continuing on as they attack top side. Torin pushing up, covering the out clear. It's still all 3 members on defense in the sentry turret. The dash, they'll get it in the corner, and they'll be able to equalize, but for how long is the question.
Yeah, I think the situation here is really tough, as you have to match the core control of a hotshot Juno, but then if you use your damage to kill them, well, there's your abilities gone. Now you have to deal with an Atlas on the defense too, right? So it's really miserable to play this core control game.
And it's even worse because it is Zentaro into Atlas, but it doesn't even matter as a raw pendulum swing punishes Magical for straying a bit too close to the edge. I don't even think he believed he could die. But I mean, Keklord proving him wrong, and it is an Atlas MVP, and a lot of good picks here for the taking, because there's a lot of speed and a lot of survivability.
Yeah, and I wonder what the Atlas opts for. Maybe something like the Among Titans or the Stacks. The Fighter Flight is a bit of an odd pick. I guess maybe not wanting to give it over to Zentaro and letting Rasmus just get more size, but Zentaro still gets heavy impact, and Stacks for Magical. This could technically look up, but there is a lot of size on Keklord.
A lot of size and a lot of power as well with that might pick up. If there's any compensation, it's the fact that Will and Terrace have been finding so many kills, and heavy impact will just be able to make that job a whole lot easier. But Will looking extremely low, almost dying here, gets orbs, and it's looking like Terrace trying to do it all by himself once more. Will back online, but not for long here. They're in a familiar situation. All 3 members playing defense, but a nice out clear. And TAMU White looking to find the second barrier.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking last time about how the core control is hard to match. The damage might also be a little difficult to match too. And an unfortunate own barrier out by Torin. Maybe Tears and Will Baka can capitalize off that. A great clear out by Magical down to Will Baka, but he needs to continuously win these strike wars against a massive Rasmus. Maybe Will Baka can secure it here. The flip out by Torin. Where does it go? Bottom side. And now Keklord is ready to take the strike war. Dogitas needs to be very careful.
Yeah, strapped for cooldowns and flips. Nice patience from Tears, but unfortunately the flip, it's not going to put it there. Pass play and just not quite enough. The angles too steep, too shallow, a mix-up defended by Torin. The core's going red, and unfortunately, there's only so many of those you can win. Will Baca piercing through all three members of UTulsa.
Yeah, UTulsa getting swept away by the windy offense of TAMU, but now they need to replicate this, and it's pretty hard to replicate when they have no energy to work with, because if you recall, they used 2 flips at the end of that round.
Yeah, but funny you mentioned that. Atlas does have the catalyst, so he'll be getting his back shortly, but it feels like TAMU White has been getting their flips and using them more consistently than UTulsa. Pressure continuing to mount with the 2 ultimates expended. Unfortunately, not quite enough. There's the live, helping out Keklord, and my goodness, that was a Garfield moment to save that barrier, but it was a devastating angle anyways. UTulsa trying to equalize here, almost devastating pass, but a nice flip from Torin, keeping things in control. Core going red, I mean, that's the hot shot. 1-2 Juno just existing, and Keklord not able to find anything through the bodies of TAMU White, who's been doing a great job running that 3-man defense. It's not ideal, but it gets the job done, and they're able to equalize off a rare blunder from Torin.
Yeah, now Will Baca and Tears, they need to find a stray angle. A great save out by Magical. Maybe they can make another bit of magic happen.
Oh,
and a missed strike shot, a missed primary. It's all missed out by Torin, and that's what TAMU need to take the second goal.
TAMU White, they're fighting back and they're biting hard at what seems to be an extremely calm and composed UTulsa. They're still making the same blunders as TAMU White, and they're capitalizing, this time a flip in the face. Magical is able to defend the McDouble, and so is Torin. Unbelievable defensive prowess from these goalies. Trying to find 2 areas, TAMU White, but again, these slimes running interference, it's just too much. They're able to get 2. But if TAMU White is able to equalize here, that expanse being down will help. Time will tell if this is a reverse sweep.
Yeah, very well might be, because if the side of TAMU can take this, they might be able to get more damage awakenings. Now, Will Baca, he's sitting in a great spot with the flip ready, a pass down, goes up to the top side, the great 2-man defense, and then the super swipe out by Tears to take it through Doggitos, and that is the first set for TAMU White.
I mean, if you're UTulsa, you played that defense as best you could, but unfortunately, strike into cyber swipe is a true combo, and that is an IME MVP. And there's a timeless creator, there's a perfect form, there's a super surge. So many gigabits is available on this draft.
Yeah, and ops for the aerial is a slightly odd choice. I would have thought that super surge of the timeless creator might have been better. I really hope the Zentara doesn't go for double dash here and opts for something like the rapid fire or just size deny instead. And yeah, we do see that. Now, the Juno going super surge, rapid fire to round out the draft. I think overall, the thing I am the most scared of is actually the Atlas with perfect form.
Yeah, Atlas perfect form and catalyst. So we're going to be seeing a lot of flips on Torin, who's already been a hard nut to crack. 1 barrier down, but that's not really much you can do for with a goalie. There's an expanse, you only need 1 anyway. Liv coming out, Torin, the rock of this position, already almost has his flip because of the perfect form catalyst. I mean, that is just insane, Ethan.
Yeah, but we might see something on the bottom side from either team, actually, as Keklord with a good strike lord attempt, Magical with a great defense, though, to answer. And now Terra is trying to bring it up with a great pass to Will Baca. Doesn't actually secure it with a slice and dice. A little unreliable in that situation. A great flip. It gets interrupted by Doggitos' own slime now. And now with no energy on the side of UTulsa, it's looking pretty difficult. But maybe not if those slimes have something to say.
Yeah, and I mean, Magical was just caught between a rock and a hard place, between the slimes and a beautiful pass from Doggitos to Keklord. Pendulum swing, intercepting everything and making that goal unsavable. But I wanted to comment, Ether, that was a very volatile point. Like, both these teams are very much in it with their economy. It's just managing what they can do with the cooldowns when they have it.
Yeah, and I think what they can do, it's also different game plans, right? The side of TAMU is looking for some damage, or in that case, just raw core control. But the other side is definitely core control. And the flip right into Torin, that was very questionable, but still, it somehow worked out. I think personally, in that situation, I would have opted for something like the pass down to Tears into a cleaner shot. But you know what? TAMU will take what they can get.
We will definitely take what we can get if you're TAMU White, because UTulsa has been in complete control of the tempo thus far. They're able to take two barriers here in quick succession, but they almost equalized TAMU White. Torin flying a little too close to the sun.
Ooh.
A nice angle across the log, and I want to say this Dubu has both Siege Machine and Monumentalist, but unfortunately that's not where you want to primary. Locked in that animation, and Dogito's able to slip it by.
Yeah, tough situation for TAMU. Backs against the wall in game one. Maybe they can find something here. Good glitch pop to pass down to Wilbaka. Nearly loses their own barrier. And now, with Terrace completely out of position, it might result in some sort of barrier being taken, but great defense out by Magical and Wilbaka to buy Terrace the time to step back.
Yeah, these ultimates in the face of Torin. Nothing to scoff at. Almost getting two there, but they'll take the one, TAMU White. They're still looking for it. The offense is continuing, but that Super Surge Juno intercepting the pass, equalizing off of that. The Slime's too much, forcing the flip. Nice patience, better projection, and it's back in the hands of UTulsa, who finds two, and Keplord has the flip. They're slow playing it. Pulls the trigger a little bit too fast, and around the world the core goes. TAMU White breathing a sigh of relief, but almost gets scored on by their ally. Flip in the corner, expanse burn. They're just trying to get tempo back on their side. A little bit of panic coming out of TAMU White, who knows this is do or die. All the cooldowns expended, a nice clear bot side, and slow play once more as the Slimes comes out. All three members, they're holding on. Oni's Blade, all forward, and goalie cooldowns used, and they eventually find the clear, but Ether, for how long?
I mean, it might be very tough, right? Wilbaka looking for the slashing strike. A great cyber swipe out forward by Tears. A jump forward out by Doggitos. And the misclear into the slime. The roll a little too late by Magical. And that's UTulsa taking game one.
UTulsa, I mean, they had their moments of sheer domination over TAMU White, but it was not a swift, painless, easy victory. TAMU White, they fought back. They found a lot of killing opportunities. Magical's creations to help supplement the forward pressure was invaluable. Torin was slipping up, but I mean, you allow Juno, Hotshot, and 1-2. The core control was just immaculate. The forward pressure, Keplord was absolutely destroying Magical in the one-on-ones. And if you're TAMU White, you just need to do a little bit better in all of these aspects in order to keep your playoff chances, your postseason chances alive.
Yeah, but then you think about it, right? This was TAMU White's map pick. What's it going to look like on Gates? Is that a map that TAMU White has experience on? Is UTulsa just going to pull out a bunch of tricks and just completely stomp this? It's looking a little worrying.
Worrying indeed, and I think TAMU White has yet to win a game on Goo. So this is extremely dangerous territory for them going into UTulsa's map pick. I mean, Goo, just an extremely hard map to play because of the portals, because of all the angles and factors you have to consider. And you already have a goalie who's off roll. At what point does experience stop being enough, Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, we already saw that game. The experience was a little tough to actually show. He had some good clears, right? But obviously, when you're a forward player put into the goalie role, if you don't have nearly as much time playing goalie as, maybe someone like Torin in this case, who has been a strict goalie for majority of his time, then you might start to see some of those cracks. And we did see it, and especially against a character like Juno. Juno is one of those characters that is kind of a skill check in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to know how to beat those slimes and how to play around it, right?
Yeah. And that goes for both allies and enemies. And a really good thing that UTulsa did in that last game was their ability to abuse the core control from my goodness, the core control from Juno that was being offered with how Reddit was going. I mean, Keplord and Doggitos did a phenomenal job of keeping that pressure going without the help of Torin, right? The big difference between TAMU White's and UTulsa's offense is that More often than not, TAMU White had a soup, a tofu fortress behind them to keep that field, the core upfield for them. Whereas UTulsa did not have that luxury with Torin too many, and they were still able to capitalize to find the cracks of Magical. And I think on Goo, the fact that the goalie has so much presence because of the portals, I think that game plan of just having that coordination between Dogitos and Kepler is going to come into full fruition tenfold.
Yeah, and we already see the draft coming in, right? Tamu White banning away the Asher, UTulsa answering by banning away the Vice. And there it is. Wilbaka gets his Juno and also denies it away from Dogitos. And as a note, this is Ariel's extra special start. And on the other side, Torin and Dogitos lock in their Dubu and Estelle, leaving in the final pick for Keklord. I think Keklord might be comfortable playing a bunch of different things. That's why they want to get this Estelle locked in. And, well, there's the Atlas for Magical. And just how familiar are you with this, right? I know you said Magical is primarily a forward player, but how much experience does he have on the Atlas versus the Dubu?
I mean, they're relatively similar, right? Similar in the archetype, similar in play style. Magical was able to hold his own on Dubu, and I imagine that he'll do the same on the Atlas. I am an Atlas player. I've taught him some tips and tricks. It's up to him to capitalize on the knowledge I've imparted. I think he'll do a good job, but that is Tears actually on the Juliet, and he
Mm-hmm.
has been hyping up his Juliet as of late. So I'm really excited to see what he does here. Extra spec aerial start. I mean, these aren't the gigabits that Juliet wants, but I mean, you get an aerials on that Juno, and the support from afar and up close will be devastating. So we'll have to see what Tamu White does here. But on the other side, I mean, it's just a similar story. Extra spec on that Dubu. It's gonna be rock solid. Aerials, extra spec on. I mean, either of these forwards, solid choices. So it's going to be a back and forth. And I think what's ultimately going to decide this match is how these teams utilize Goo to the fullest.
Yeah, and I believe I have actually seen this UTulsa team, when they operated as Cutie Patooties and OSAS, pick this Goo map multiple times, and they have not looked terrible on it, right? They've
Yeah.
looked like they at least know what they're doing, and that's probably part of why they carried it over into CCL and are picking it here as well. But then we also have to talk about, right, this Juno versus Estelle matchup. It's been said time and time again, this is heavily Juno favored. Wilbaka, a pretty big Juno player. Dogitos is also a pretty big Juno player. And for that reason, he might understand this matchup of the Juno and Estelle and be able to adapt in a way to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah, but another thing that Estelle can do, especially into the Atlas, is just catch the goalie off guard, a raw primary, well placed one. The ult is just such a skill check, and it calls into question whether or not Magical has the skills necessary to deal with all the cheese and all the pressure, really, that UTulsa will put out on him. But looking at the gears, mag souls on everybody except Tears, and both goalies taking strike shot. Pretty standard.
Yeah, I would say so. Looks like, yeah, Wilbaka's internet not doing the best again, but maybe back now?
Hopefully.
Oh.
Oh, look at that sportsmanship from UTulsa. Equalizing the barriers, still trying to figure out if Will has the good internet. Think they might, with all the emotes being spent here. And we're back, off to the races, right? Trying to get the offense started for both teams. Log intercepting that dash punch, and how quick is UTulsa to get that second barrier. I mean, perfect coordination with all their forward cooldowns, and a strike war one off the missed jump from Wilbaka. And that is UTulsa just making quick work.
Yeah, unfortunate missed jump out by Wilbaka, and definitely costing them a lot. And we see this level up coming in for tears, but the other members of TAMU White are still sitting solidly at level 1, so there might be more time for UTulsa to make some plays.
Yeah, I mean, TAMU White with the barrier advantage now, 1v1. Unfortunately, Tears a little off, a little wide on the angle, and looks like Wilbaka's internet is off once more. My goodness. I'm seeing all these spikes. It's not pretty around the world. This Juno is going, and it's not by choice. TAMU White is a little bit laggy.
Yeah, and that's not ideal, but unfortunately you gotta do what you gotta do, and, well, in this case, it looks like TAMU White just wants to accept it and say, you know what, we'll just play it out and see how it goes.
UTulsa being real good sports about that. Shout out to them. But unfortunately, Torin getting kit dumped by Tears. He's able to get both barriers here. Flips exchanged as well. They get one for their troubles, UTulsa, but they need to find the two. Nice dribbling, intercepted though by all the bodies from UTulsa. They're still holding on to their first barrier here, able to navigate all the piercing shot cooldowns. Pendulum swing almost coming through, and Magical is able to hold on to his flip. Dangerous situation for UTulsa, and a nice clear from Torin to stave the offense away for now. But unfortunately, that slime from Wilbaka, extremely well placed, catches Torin off guard, and the OTP is coming online here.
Hey, we saw something similar to that in favor of the other team at the end of last game, and, well, now they're getting their due pay. Unfortunately, once again, Wilbaka not looking to be in the best of situations, but hey, we can make do.
To make it worse, though, TAMU forward with stable internet is down and out for the count. Magical trying to hold on, can't quite do it. Able to save the goal there with the flip. Tara's trying to find some revenge, not quite having it though. The lag switching from Wilbaka. Magical straying a little bit too far, but a nice strike shot for now keeps things going. They need to find the second barrier here. It's Terrors in a 1v2. A nice down clear. Trying to set up Kecklord. Portal having something to say about it, though. There's a flip from Wilbaka. A weird angle. Gets it passed through anyway. Whiplash forcing the expanse. And Magical on the wrong side of it. Assumed that the expanse was a guaranteed clear, and it was not. And Kecklord makes him pay for it.
Kecklord, a great strike there. Unfortunately for Magical, that does mean that TAMU White is down 1-2, and with lots of energy on the side of UTulsa, it's looking really bad. A great flip out by Dogitos to find the first barrier, a great Crystal Thorns to find the second, and now Tor and Kecklord all pushing up together. A great piercing shot to pierce through and kill the TAMU goalie, and a great strike out by Kecklord to close out the set.
And you can see how it all comes crumbling down for TAMU White. Magical, the rock, the cornerstone of TAMU White going down, leaving their forwards just completely clueless in the nets. They're going to try and pick up the scraps here, but I'm not really seeing the clear out for them, Ether.
Yeah, nothing really game-changing for the members of TAMU White. I suppose, yeah, that perfect form could be pretty good for the Julie. Spark scaling on the other side. And it looks like it's just scaling all around, right? Size, sparks, stagger. Maybe the side of TAMU White can use their current strengths to take some sets back.
Maybe. I'm really interested in the Deadeye pick from Wilbaka. I mean, he'll be able to proc that with ease thanks to aerials, even without it. That's a lot of damage. That's going to be a lot of red core potential. You can already see that TAMU White is trying to snowball off of that, and they get the first barrier.
I mean, not just the first for the opposite side as they get the double thanks to that Crystal Thorns well set up by Dogitos. A good strike shot, but an even better Atlas primary as Tears is looking to finish off the point. A Rose Warp to keep the core forward, and now a great dash and a good strike out by Tears. The strike shot unfortunate out by Torin. I think there was a chance he would have had the Soren angle there.
That was beautifully played by TAMU White, and it was a valiant effort by UTulsa. But I mean, if you get into that situation as UTulsa, your hands are up away from the desk and you're like, all right, yeah, that's a point. We'll play it.
Yeah, and I mean, Dogitos, he just does it again, right? It's the same thing that TAMU White is falling victim to. That strike into that perfectly timed Crystal Thorns for the double barrier. and now they need to find something on the other side. But when you give such free passing lanes to Doggitos and Keklord, they're definitely going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and it might have been supplemented by the fact that Tycho is such a closed map, really, but TAMU White was doing an excellent job of cutting the circulation. Not doing the same on this map, and that's been a huge contributor to UTulsa's success. And it also has been on the back of the McDoubles Doggitos have been finding, which is extremely uncommon on this map. They're able to find one. Unfortunately, TAMU not able to equalize with a nice strike shot from Torin. Flips online. There's one expended, and there's the first and second down in quick succession. Tears, snowballing, get a nice jump from Wilbaka. Torin using his flip for fun, but I mean TAMU White with a brilliant offensive show.
Yeah, I think Torin's just afraid of the core not being caught by his teammate, but thankfully for him, it did. Now, Tears has to find a way to get this core through, but Wilbaka, he's just stuck on the defense and unable to reinforce the TAMU brawler. Now, Keklord with the flip. This is looking very dangerous, but a good flip out by Magical.
Wow.
A really patient clear, and now Wilbaka has to find the flip to the top side. Doesn't really get a pass out to Tears, and that's so many abilities commit on the defense. They don't have any more for the offense now.
They don't, and it's just all about passing lanes, free space, and neither of the TAMU forwards rotated topside to help Magical, who just got kit dumped clean from UTulsa.
Yeah, and that's a really unfortunate situation to be in. At that point, I think with Magical, if he could have, he should have tried to walk up to that corner and attempted some sort of corner clear before the layering abilities got to him.
Yeah, and that's just something, again, you learn with time, with experience as goalie, something he doesn't have. Almost able to help Tears get that second barrier. They're up one, not for long though, as the pressure from UTulsa is just too much to handle. They get two in quick succession, and they're looking for the goal. Magical with a nice up clear, but that corner pressure is scary, but the soup goes wide, and that's a clear. A free barrier. Wilbaka still with the core. They set up Tears so well. They have the flip, the log, the roll. Almost able to convert off of Torin's blunder, but UTulsa, they stand stalwart.
Yeah, and a great strike win out by Magical, but Keklord too close to the Atlas, and the Atlas expands. Can't catch the core there. UTulsa one set away from potentially eliminating TAMU White.
Yeah, and if you're TAMU White, you need some X factor here, and the only one that's coming cleanly is the Twin Drive Atlas, if he's able to get it. But we all know that by now. Not gonna happen. And I mean, they're just grasping at straws now, TAMU White.
Yeah, I mean, interesting pickup here. Actually grabbing the 1-2 punch to deny it away from Tears. You know, forcing a deny chain in a way to deny away from Keklord as well. I suppose Tears will be kind of big, thanks to this Among Titans. Now, do you think that the Estelle should have just denied that 1-2 punch or just gone for the second spark, which would have been speed for her?
If I'm Estelle, I think I opt for the second spark. I mean,
Yeah.
1-2 is only dangerous in the hands of Juliet when she's fishing for kills or when she's fishing for combos on the goal. And up until that point, Tears was doing really neither of those things. It's a power play now for TAMU White. They find one barrier. They're not able to find two, though. Keklord running interference in a 1v1, but jumps the trigger on the pendulum swing. Tears not able to find a kill as the second barrier drops here. And TAMU White, they're looking to equalize with a damaged Keklord, but it is Magical falling cross map thanks to the shot from Doggitos, and UTulsa, they head up first in this final, what looks to be this third set.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of see why Doggitos want to deny 1-2 punch after they did die there to Tears. Maybe worried that more of those situations are going to come up if the 1-2 punch was there, and that's a lot of damage on the members of UTulsa. Maybe TAMU White can make some use of it, but they're just not contesting Torin as he lets the core sit there, and now that's pretty bad as it buys so much time for UTulsa.
So much time bought, and it looks like they might need to buy a little more with Doggitos looking so low. Tears equally low though. TAMU White in a familiar spot, trying to play defense here. They hold on for now, but they can't get the offense started, especially as Tears gets staggered. Will Baca with a flip. Nice find for the first barrier, but they need to get two. And it doesn't look like it's happening with all three members of UTulsa in the faces of these TAMU White forwards.
Yeah, and an unfortunate secondary there, actually sending into its own barrier. A great flip out by Magical.
Wow!
Actually nearly takes the barrier, but an even better strike shot out by Torin. And this might just be the end of this point. Keklord finding the shot to the top side. And can we just talk about how great of a strike shot that was by Torin?
Yeah, Torin saving that second barrier. Beautiful strike shot. Magical had a few of those as well. But I mean, you allowed Keklord the golden spot, really, for a forward. One-on-one, in the middle of the field. Yeah, it's game over if you're a goalie strapped for cooldowns. And a familiar spot is TAMU White, as they're down one barrier, and it's going only a matter of time, really, before UTulsa finds the second.
No, I mean, at least on the bright side, Magical is finally fully stacked with his stacks on stacks, but now he's open net, and with Keklord having the flip in his face, it's looking really dangerous. Flip not even needed, as the secondary giving him a Sophia moment as it just knocks into his own net. So tough for TAMU White as they now fall down to 1-4.
So tough indeed, and it was a valiant attempt. I mean, I tried to gas them up a little bit, and they did deliver. It was not a real hard Giga Stomp from UTulsa. No, TAMU White, they had some flashes, some streaks of brilliancy, but I mean, the consistency from UTulsa is just unmatched. Keklord was able to just demolish Magical in the one. Same story as Taiko Temple. Dogitos was able to supplement so many McDoubles, so many opportunities for Keklord, and Torin was an absolute beast in the goal box. And really, if you're TAMU White getting outclassed like that, there's not much you can do. Despite the valiant attempt, it is UTulsa keeping their playoff chances alive.
Yeah, and now one of their matches next week could actually just be against the formerly seen Texas Tech University that was playing in game one, or match one of today. Now, we'll have to see who UTulsa plays in this next round, because their next two matches are going to be very, very important.
Very important, and probably going to be extremely tough as well. But I have faith in this UTulsa team, because Dogitos and Keklord's synergy looked to be, I mean, unstoppable versus TAMU White. And when you're backed by an extremely competent goalie in Torin, that is just a recipe for success. UTulsa, they can really only go up from here, and they keep their playoff chances alive and healthy going into the next week.
Yeah. Now, that is it for UTulsa, but not for TAMU, actually, as we have another TAMU team joining us in the final series of the day as TAMU Maroon takes on U Alberta ESA Koalas. But for that, we may have to go to a little bit of a break. We'll catch you on the other side.